What's up, manga fans? This is Raphael from C Manga, and I'm here to give you a review of this week's chapter of the Breaker New Ways 150. I have to say this chapter made me quite sad because of the obvious reason, if you guys have read it, was the state of Kang-Sung's health and the fate of his future in the series, which is not looking too good at the moment. The chapter itself was more or less like the past two. It was, an informative chapter. It was obviously, still calm down. There's no action, but regardless, it's still very interesting because all these problems and issues that are being brought up, like with the clashing between the Mirim and the government world, how there's power-hungry groups in the Mirim that will try and rise up and claim, power and influence. We've got obviously the government trying to stick their hand in there as well and cause havoc, and then obviously we've got Kaiser with his schemes where he's most likely going to want to basically take over all the governments and Mirim altogether. So there is a lot to talk about. I have to say Jong-Il still doesn't impress me as a character. He really is irritating, and he's just so underhanded at times. I mean, I was actually starting to think, okay, he might be a good character in the end. Like, I might tolerate him a bit more because obviously his usefulness to the Mirim is very valid right now, and I thought he was being cooperative at first. But then obviously he came out with that sly remark to Shi-Woon later on where he basically said, if you were to be the next chief of the Mirim Alliance, would you be able to give the order to kill Chun-Woo? And he deliberately did that to take a dig at Shi-Woon personally, as well as his relationship with Chun-Woo, even though he stated that it was only to check that the person I'm going to be working alongside with would be able to deal with a situation rather than have these doubts. But in his head he was like, I thought so. Regardless what the higher up says, I'm not going to take orders from a squirt like you. Things like that is what irritates me about him. And as I said, obviously the whole reason everyone hates him is because of him shooting Shi-Ho, which has caused this whole situation to begin with. So yeah, there's not much redemption from he can make from this, and I really just would like to see him gone from the series after he's played his role and his part in it. And then, as I said, he was you might as well say kind of disruptive, where he was trying to disagree with the elders. He was saying it's not because of I don't want to help out, it's because I'm the representative for the government and there's precautions that need to be taken if we want to establish a link between the government and the Mirim before we work together, which is, I think, is just literally balls, because Kang-Sung literally calls him out on it and says, I understand what you're doing and your feelings, but the situation right now is too dire. We basically need to settle this right now. And the Mirim is obviously in a dire state because of all the different groups that want to basically rise up and claim their prize, and obviously a strong figure is going to be needed to unite that, and he recommends Shi-Woon. So he's pretty much straight up said he wants Shi-Woon to be his successor as chief alliance of the Mirim. So yeah, as I said, you can tell that was obviously irritating him, and that's where he took his dig out on Shi-Woon's strong lay one. But another interesting part was we see Jong-Il is led to the snipers because he asks about them, and he finds out they're in a vegetative state because he wanted to interrogate them and do his own thing. Literally, you could see he had no intention of having an alliance with the Mirim. He wanted to interrogate them and find out about Chun-Woo himself. But when he finds them, they're conveniently like in a vegetative state. Their memory or their minds apparently are very, very damaged, and it seems a bit all too convenient, like they had some suicide pills in the form of killing their brain. And Sarah Kang even asked, are these the police with the snipers? She feared about this situation. So once again, Sarah Kang, Miss Badass, has already kind of assumed or expected this situation to happen. So obviously she was probably thinking of trying to interrogate them as well, and she probably thought that the snipers would most likely try to kill themselves, or their memories would be wiped clean and turn into a vegetative state, as we can see. What I also loved about that part was Sarah Kang pretty much trod all over Jong-Il. He was trying to suck up. He's like, oh, you're the Mil-young clan leader. It's just like, it's pleased to meet you. He tries to introduce himself. He's like, I know who you are. You're the representative for the government Murim connection. And then she just kind of ignores him and starts talking to Hai Ulgan. And he tries to get a little word in again. And he's like, if you're so interested about what I have to say, come and listen when I talk to the current head of the Murim, the Sun-Woo guide you first. So she's pretty much said this is in the same mind frame as Kang-Sung. She already sees Shi-Woon as the next chief of the Murim Alliance. So that, I enjoyed that, because after the crap he just gave to Shi-Woon beforehand, it's like Sarah Kang just comes along and just pisses all over him literally, and basically stomps on his prideful, arrogant nature. So yeah, gotta love that from Sarah Kang. And as I said before, her future sight and preparing is always on point. So the last bit of the chapter, we see Shi-Woon is contemplating about Jong-Il-won's question of whether he can take out Chun-Woo. Would he be able to take out his former master? And he's also very unnerved about Kang-Sung recommending him to be alliance chief. He's really like thinking, why is he putting me in this situation? And this is when he overhears what I mentioned earlier, the sad news about Kang-Sung. Apparently he is not in a good state. He's lost a lot of blood. We even see Elder Kwon checking his pulse and see that it's very low. He's pretty much dying at this point, but he wanted to keep it a secret. As you could see, he was really getting angry and irritated when one of his followers was kept pestering about, and he was basically saying, keep quiet, you know, we need to keep this a secret. Right now the Murim needs a strong chief alliance to face the Nine Arch Dragon, but if they find out, obviously the chief alliance is dying or is going to be dead, and the Nine Arts is somewhat, you know, to do with this, they're all going to fear him, and the Murim would be in trouble. So this kind of obviously explains why Kang-Sung is pushing Shi-Woon to be the next Murim alliance chief. Kang-Sung's obviously going to try and hold that as much as he can to be a strong figure for the Murim alliance, and then he'll pass that on to Shi-Woon, so that will obviously bring balance in the Murim and obviously keep them strong when they go up against, you know, the SUC and the Black Forest Defense. So we even see the last little bit, Elder Kwon admiring Kang-Sung's incorruptible nature and his determination for peace, and he even questions Shi-Woon on this. It's like, can you see this? It's like, this is how admirable this man is, but it's like his life is obviously limited. It's too late for him, and he's going to die soon. So he's basically saying you better be prepared to take over. That's what I think. Also, I like the little comment. He's like, oh, you've become very well at hiding your key. So it shows Shi-Woon isn't as reckless as he was before. He's starting to become a very expert master martial artist. So yeah, that was the chapter. In overall, I enjoyed it. It's very much, as I said, building up, you know, suspense and, you know, obviously the future plot for the series, and it's really interesting. I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next. As I said, we see that Kang-Sung is literally on his deathbed. I had a crack theory that Ju San-sik could come and save him, because, you know, he's obviously the master doctor in the Murim, and, you know, he is fond of Shi-Woon, so I could imagine he would come and help. But that's a crack theory. It seems like Kang-Sung probably will die. But if I'm proved wrong and Ju San-sik arrives, that would be good. Sarah Kang, badass as usual, nothing to say about that. From Alliance Chief hearing about this might not be good, so you could imagine he would probably rebel against this with some Murim followers following him, so there's going to be a clash with that as well, most likely. And I think the last point is Shi-Woon's answer to Jong-Il. What would that be? We've seen Shi-Woon come up with very good answers in the past, and I think he will most likely do the same this time and give Jong-Il a good answer he can't complain against. So it will obviously be something that will benefit the Murim and obviously his master Chun-Woo, so it'll be in a way that it satisfies everybody and no one can complain against it, which is would obviously, you know, establish and make him what's the word, him being chosen as the next chief very good, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's the chapter. If you guys got any comments, leave them in the comment box below, prediction, anything like that. And also, if you're new and you enjoyed this, subscribe for more content in the channel, and I'll speak to you guys next time.